Hi everybody and welcome to Push Your Luck Podcast video review. Today we'll be looking at Blueprints. This is a new game released from designer Yves Tourigny, who also brought you the game Expedition Northwest Passage. Blueprints is published by Z-Man Games, and it is a 2 to 4 player game, dice rolling game, where you are rolling dice, taking the dice and basically putting them onto your blueprints to form a sort of structure using the dice and the blueprints template. 2 to 4 players, 30 minutes is kind of a light push your luck type of game. So let's take a look at what the game is like, what are the components, how it plays, and my thoughts about the game. Okay, these are the components for blueprints. The gist of the game is each player will be getting one of these blueprints cards drawn from the deck at random and hidden. Each player will hide their own blueprint cards behind their own player screen here. And during their turn, they're supposed to pick a die from a number of dice available for them to take from and place it onto their blueprint card. Now, once each player has collected 6 dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes, 6 dice, then the round will end. Players will then look at the scoreboard here, score their blueprints based on a certain system of scoring based on the dice they use. I'll explain that later. And whoever has the most points here will get the gold standard. The second most will get the silver standard. The third most will get a bronze. And if you manage to meet any of these special abilities per round, alright, you'll also be able to get a card. At the end of 3 rounds, whoever has the most points, depending on what cards you have gotten in the previous rounds, will win the game. So, let's go into the details of the game. Now, at the beginning, all the 32 dice that you see here, there's 32 dice. There's 4 different types of dice. They represent different materials. Alright, so you got the clear one, you got the green one, the orange one, and the black one. I will not go into the materials because, well, thematically you can, but, well, not me. Alright, so you put all the dice into this little bag here. First problem that we have, you can see the bag is pretty small. So to put all 32 dice into this small bag, and then you're supposed to reach in and grab the dice, is going to be difficult. For me, I can only put 2 fingers in. I got pretty fat fingers. I got to put 2 fingers, so I'm not very sure how you're going to do it. That's the first problem that you're going to face. So after you put all 32 dice in, at the start of every round, you draw 2 dice out. You place them here. This will be the tiebreaker. The 2 dice that you place here must be different. Right? This will be the tiebreaker, so that when you're doing the scoring part, if there's a tie in score, whoever has the most of the top dice in on their blueprints will break tie. If there's still a tie, whoever has the most in the second material will break tie. So these are the tiebreaker. After that, you draw out a number of dice from the bag equivalent to the number of players you have. So for 2 players, you'll be drawing out 8 dice. For 3 players, 9 dice. For 4 players, it's 7 dice. So after you draw out the dice, you roll them onto the board, play area, and then you arrange them according to the number. This is for easy viewing so that players can see what numbers are available. Now, starting with the start player, the player will take one of the dice available for them and put it onto their blueprint. When you put onto the blueprint, there's 2 simple rules that you need to follow. First, you need to follow the limit set by the blueprint. So you can at least put 1 die here. Subsequently, you cannot put any dice here at all. Now, if you put you can see the tree here. This is just to tell you that these are the number of dice you need to put to be able to form this structure. However, you can always break that rule as long as you don't put any dice here. Second rule that you need to follow is that if you're going to put a dice on top of another dice, let's say you're going to put another dice on top of this number 6 dice, the number on top of the dice, the pips on top of the dice must be equals or smaller than the number of dice below. So for example, if there's a 6 here, I can only put a 6 and below, so I can put a 4. Now if I want to put another one on top, I cannot put a higher number, I can only put a small number, so I can put a 3, like that. So this will form your structure. After you take a dice, you will draw another random die out from the bag, and you roll it and put it into the market, so that the next player will take his turn. So this continues until all players have taken 6 dice, and then we review. So that's the second problem here that I can see. It's because when players are taking dice and putting it into their area, no one can really check whether they are putting it correctly or not. or whether there's any concerns or anything like that. I mean, we do trust all the players to play correctly, but we can't tell. Sometimes they make a mistake, or things happen. So this is another problem I foresee. However, you cannot play without the player screen, because then players can see what kind of dice you're collecting and then move to block you. That could make it more competitive, but I guess that's not really the main aim of the game. So after players compare, there will be certain scoring depending on the dice that you selected and the configuration that you place them in. So for orange die, okay, for each orange die will score for each other die that is touching one of its faces. So if one other die touching is one face, you got 2 points. If two dice is touching if two dice are touching the two faces of the die, you get 4 points. Then 6 points and 8 points. If you collected one green die, no matter where it's placed, you will get 2 points. If you collected 2 green dice, 5 points. 3 green dice, 10 points, 15 points, 20 points, and then 30 points. The black die is dependent on how high it is on the stack. So it starts from 2, 3, 5, 8, 8, 8. The clear dice, you get points depending on the pip that's showing on top of the dice. So it's 1 to 6. So after you scored that, after you calculate the scoring, then you move your chit onto the scoring marker as shown. If you have managed to complete the picture on your blueprint as shown without any funny business, you get additional 6 points. Now players will now check who has the most points, will get either the gold, silver, or bronze. The gold will give you 3 points at the end of the game. 3 points at the end of the game. The silver will give you 2 points at the end of the game, and the bronze will give you one point at the end of the game. Now there are these special cards that you can aim, these special configurations that you can try to aim for to get these special cards. For example, if you have 5 or more dice that are of the same color, you get this card. If you have 4 or more dice that have the same number, you get this card. If you have running number 1 to 6, you get this card. And if you pile up 5 dice all on one straight row, you get this card. So a player can potentially win 1 or more of these at the end of the round. Okay, so if you win, you get to keep this, and this will give you 2 points at the end of the game. Therein lies the third problem that I can see, because players could potentially just forgo getting the extra 6, and they can score this at the end. They can try to stack it up like in this way to score this 2 points. They can just collect all the same cards and score this 2 points. So if you manage to do both, you get an extra 4 points at the end of the game, which is probably more worthwhile than going after this, because this will not directly translate to points. It will at most translate to 3, 2, or 1. So that is kind of funny to me. So at the end of the game, whoever has the most points, based on all these are the main way you're scoring points, will win the game. So what are my final thoughts about the game? Alright, I heard quite a lot of things about blueprints, and I wanted to try it out. I got my friend to buy it for me from the States before it was released, and I did not realize it was released already in Singapore. So anyway, after I tried the first game of it, I really wanted to like it, but unfortunately I did not have a good feel about it. I do not understand some of the rules that were in place. For example, like I mentioned, the 3 problems during the gameplay video that we faced. Me and my fellow gamers, we did not really understand what's the point of following the blueprint. And because you only get 1 card, you can't really, there's no much choice. The only choice you have, right, is to choose from the set of dice that you have. And if the dice are all low numbers during your turn, then you're kind of screwed. You are also, in a way, setting up other people, because if you draw a random dice and you roll it and you roll very well, you yourself do not get to choose it. Instead, your opponents will benefit from your good roll. So all in all, there are quite a few problems that we faced, and while it's an interesting push your luck mechanism, it's nice to see you using the dice to build up the structures. It's quite pretty. There's many dice to play with. This game did not work for me. Perhaps there could be certain things that could change. For example, instead of you picking a dice and you roll, you could pick a dice out first, roll the dice, and then you choose from that set. That may have made things better. You could maybe have a better choice. You can also, for example, choose 3 blueprints, draw 3 blueprints and keep 1 and discard the other 2. So you have a better sense of choice there. You might want to play with the player sleeves, not the player shields taken away. It could make for a more competitive game. People can better see each other, but it might be better because people can guard each other and make for a more tight game. In our first play, one of our friends keep getting all the green dice, and if you remember, if you get 6 green dice, you get 30 points, and 30 points is already a lot. Typical scoring per round is about 30 something up to maybe 40. Right, and then from there he'll get either the number 3, the gold standard, or the silver standard. So that's a confirmed 3 points, endgame 3 points, and confirmed endgame 2 points. So all in all, it seems to be an interesting idea, but I think the execution is a bit jarring. It doesn't flow as smoothly, which is quite a surprise to me because I did enjoy the Expedition Northwest Passage. I did a YouTube video on it from this designer, so I was quite surprised. I heard a lot of hype about it, but unfortunately this game did not work for me. So if you think that if you like a light push your luck game with a lot of dice, do give this game a try. If not, then well, it did not work for me. Thank you for watching.